We're live now, right? Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is live from, I believe we're in the United Kingdom, right? um, yeah. So we are now live. Welcome, everyone. This is GTV success stories. We're spotlighting our wonderful and fantastic, great um, speaker, guest speaker, the person of Ifeoluwa. I'm sorry, I'm not very good with pronouncing his own name. So hi, so
Give it a
Ogunbufu
try. Okay, not
Ogun.
bad. Not
Did I?
bad. Yeah, not, not bad.
Yeah. So yeah. Like I said, a very big honor to have you. Is what I don't know. I don't know how much we can't even equate it with currency. Like it's a honor, and we are so happy to have you. So it's a big opportunity for us and everyone that is on our channel, our audience, to have a follower here to tell us her success story journey, on how she secured the global talent visa. She's so many things. She's wearing so many hats. But for today, you will just see the GTV hat of hers, like the global talent, success story journey, because she's everything. Like her profile is just so huge. So who is Ifeoluwa? Should I go ahead with the introduction, or do you want to do yourself?
I'm happy either way. So let me know what you'd like to do.
All right, okay. So, um, she's a brilliant strategy and operations leader, a venture coach, and startup ecosystem advisor with nearly a decade of experience across big tech, fintech, venture capital, startups, and government institutions. She has worked with major organizations, including Amazon UK, Flutterwave, Global Ventures Dubai, and the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria. An Oxford MBA graduate, she has become one of the UK's most respected voices in startup and scale up leadership,
Mhm.
mentoring across prestigious global platforms such as AWS, Leaps, Saudi, the Watson School, Imperial College, and many others. Many others. Take note of that. Ifeoluwa is also a recipient of the UK Global Talent Visa, and that's why we're here today. See the other one, she will be coming. She will come and tell us more about businesses and all those things. But today is the GTV part, and she wants to let us know about her own journey. I was endorsed as a tech strategy leader. So
Yeah.
those of us that are in strategy tech, just have your pen to learn and jot some very key, interesting points and tips by the UK government. She has been named among the top 100 African business leaders in the UK, a UN Women UK delegate, and a McKinsey Next Generation Women Leader, among many other recognitions. So, what makes her story powerful is not just the accolade, it's the intention, the courage, and the clarity behind every move she has made. Tonight, this evening, we're diving into Ifeoluwa's journey. So, come on board. On board. So now, if you have questions, put it on the chat because we want to go into talking and discussions to
Mhm.
get a whole lot from Ifeoluwa. Ifeoluwa, I don't know if I know I did not say much. I
No,
just
you're fine. I think you're good to go. I'm happy to get started, but thank you so much. And thanks to you and your team for reaching out and for having me. I'm very pleased to be here with you guys.
we are really honored. We are really honored. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Okay, without much ado, without wasting so much time, we just have some few questions for Ife, and please, like we said, if you have questions, why the talk is going on, why she's answering these questions, please you can do well to drop it on the comment section. We'll pick that up, and yes, we'll answer those questions. So now, if you want to find out from you, what inspired you to apply for the visa, the UK Global Talent Visa?
Mm.
First of all, many of us on our audience have been following our success story, so they're pretty familiar with the Global Talent Visa and
Mhm.
what it's all about, and all of the benefit that comes with it. So,
Mm.
But it's fine if you want to still touch on that. I said okay.
Mm.
But what really inspired you, to apply for the visa?
Okay. No, happy to respond to that.
Yeah.
One thing I like to say first, which a lot of people don't realize, is that I'm a lawyer. So my background is law. I worked as a lawyer for almost 5 years. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember that. So I always have to remind people that I really had no business applying for this visa,
Wow.
technically. But along the way, my legal career. So while I was at Vice President's office in Nigeria, I then went on to work for one of Africa's top law firms. And it was at that law firm that I was one of the associates that started the fintech team for the law firm. And then when I got my admission to do my MBA at the University of Oxford, I decided to take a break. I knew that I wanted to pivot into tech, so I then decided to hang my legal hat. And thankfully, I got the opportunity to work with Flutterwave briefly. This was even before Flutterwave became a unicorn in 2021. At that stage, they had just raised their Series C, so they had gotten some funding. They were looking to do a lot of acquisition. They were looking to, really grow the business. And I came on board and started working with the chief of staff team and the strategic investments team as well, right? So I think my time in the law firm working, being one of the people that started the fintech team was probably one of the, early stages of my tech career, right? Again, but remember, I was still a lawyer, right? But I just knew that there was more. And I think working in vice president's office exposed me to how there was more, within Nigeria, outside of the country, in Africa, and internationally, right?
Mm.
Then when I fast forward to why I decided to apply for the visa, I applied in November of 2023, right? But backtrack to February of 2023, a good friend of mine reached out to me. I was still working on Amazon at that time. And she said, "Oh, if I want to apply for this visa, would you recommend me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. It's not a big deal. I'm happy to recommend you. Let me know." Because at that time, she was running a like ed tech podcast and, ed tech, business. And so we had done some work together. And she said, "Oh, I'd really like you to recommend me because we've done some work together." And I recommended her. And less than 2 months after, she reached out to me and said, "Oh my God, Ife, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got it." I was like, "Yeah, congrats. I'm so happy for you. And I'm happy that I was able to play a role on that journey." I wasn't thinking about applying.
Wow.
But fast forward towards the end of the year where just a lot was happening in the world of tech, just so much going on. And it became clear that to make sure that you're hedging against multiple experiences, and just to make sure that, as an immigrant, I mean, I lived and worked in Nigeria up until 2021, right?
Mm.
And as an immigrant in England, like one of the big priorities is your visa, right?
Mm.
Anything happens, that's the first thing you're concerned about. It then became clear to me that I had to, have a strong footing if I wanted to still stay in the country. And I was like, you know what? I think I want to give this a shot. And I think another funny story that I always tell people, I don't advise people to do this. I applied within 4 days. Please don't do that. I don't recommend. I was not sleeping. I was like a crazy person. But I applied in 4 days because I really didn't want to drag it out. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I'm going to just put my head down and work on the application. And I think within like 3 or 4 weeks, I got the endorsement. So in a short summary, maybe not so short, but that's those are some of the reasons and the journey to applying for the visa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'll be asking some questions around the challenges, you faced, your application. So, or the eye-opening part of, your
Mhm.
journey, maybe your application and all of that.
I think when I think about the application, I tell people this was probably the most rigorous application that I had ever done in my life, right?
Mm.
Because I mean, I had applied to the number one university in the world, University of Oxford, and I got in, thankfully. But
Mm.
this one was essentially defending, it required you to defend your entire or most of your work experience, and you're making a case for yourself. School applications are, you're making a case, almost like making a case for why they should bet on you, your future, and things like that. But this was more saying, I've done XYZ things, and it is enough reason for you to grant me this visa. And it took a lot out of me. And like I said, I worked on it in such a short period of time. And I think for me, a lot of it was really thinking through, what do they want to see? What will make me a standout candidate? Again,
Yeah.
remember, like I said, I'm a lawyer, so first of all, I had no business even applying for this. What will make
Mm.
them see beyond my legal hat and say, yes, this person has a background in law, but We've seen all the many other things she's then gone on to do in tech. I also should say that I applied as an exceptional talent, not as an exceptional promise. So I was telling them that I'd been doing this for at least a minimum of 5 years and longer, right? So I had to make a strong case for myself. And I think the big part of that was that storytelling aspect of the application, and I work with a lot of people who apply for the visa. They come to me, I work with them on consultation, documentation reviews. And one of the big aspects that we work together on is the storytelling. It's not just dumping a list of evidence, screenshots, and expecting them to figure it out. That storytelling, sharing your narrative in a way that really presents you as someone who is worthy of this visa. I think that's the part that I really try to take my time to work on. And to be honest, at the point I was like, should I really be doing this? Is it really worth all the effort and all the energy? But I am glad that I took the shot, and it's what I tell people, like, you literally have nothing to lose. If you think you have a strong enough profile, you should be applying for this.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So, and I believe it has changed your life. It's something people would like to also hear, right? But before we go into maybe your life after the visa, are there maybe some areas you want to point out about the application people should also watch out for? Somebody might be asking, okay, she applied as what? What are the things she put in application? Those are questions in the minds of our audience. Yes, I want to follow her strategy. I want to do what she did to be like her. So, what advice do you have for that person
Yeah.
listening to? Yeah.
I think a couple of things that I had to sort of like really, really hone in on and really push out there in the application is my profile as a strategy leader, right? So outside of my law career, everything else I had done in tech prior to applying for the visa had been in strategy. So I had always done strategy with startups, with fintechs, and that was what I wanted to make shine through. So again, if you're familiar with the visa requirements, they look at people who are technical, who have technical skills. So if you're a software developer, an AI expert, a programmer, all of those things. But they look at people like myself who they believe have business skills. So people that work in strategy, people that work in finance, people that are product managers, those are what they consider to be business skills. So I needed to make sure that those business skills came out, in the kind of work that I said I had done when I was writing my personal statement, my CV, the recommendation letters that my 3 recommenders wrote for me. It had to always be talking about my expertise as a strategy leader in tech, right? Everything had to keep coming back to that one personality, that I'm a strategy leader in tech. I find a lot of people in the applications are telling multiple stories. You can't really tie it into what is the one thing that you say you are. What is that expertise that you're saying you have, right? If it's data set, if you're a data scientist, if you are a finance person in tech, like every aspect of your application must still come back to that main point of the persona that you're trying to present. And I find that is, again, it still goes back to that bit around storytelling, right? And of course, the biggest part of the application, as you can imagine, is the evidence that you have to show. Now, the other parts of the application require a lot of writing. And I tell people that when it comes to the evidence bit, it's a lot of showing. So now you've told them a lot of things in your written aspects. Now they want to see, you need to back it up, right? And that is where a lot of people struggle. I think where most people even struggle is particularly when you have a 9 to 5 that is tech related, you are fine. But then the other aspect of the evidence is what they've called optional evidence, where you have to show a couple of things like, articles that you've written, events that you've spoken at, mentoring that you've done. A lot of people struggle with that because while some people have not done those kinds of things, others have done it but never documented it, right? So if you're on this call and you're thinking, oh, I want to apply for this, my big advice to you is everything you're doing that you see that is going to match the requirements, document it. And I tell people it's not even about going on LinkedIn to announce anything. Nobody cares about that. The endorsing body technician has even said they don't want anything from your LinkedIn. So when I say document it, I'm saying have flyers, have screenshots, have emails, save them, create a folder for yourself and save them in there, right? Because those are the things you're going to have to pull out when it's time for the application. Yeah.
And wow, 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 you're a recipient already. So how's life after the visa?
I
Somebody
mean,
might be
it's yeah,
ah,
no, it's. I'm not gonna lie.
right.
It's yeah. I feel like, and it's so funny. I'll tell you a brief story. So a friend of mine, right? She went to Oxford, I think 2 years prior to me.
Yeah.
And now she runs her own venture capital firm. So she started her own VC first, right?
Hmm.
And I remember in 2023, I was speaking to her that, oh, because she used to work at a VC firm and then left to start hers. I remember saying, oh, this is amazing that you've been able to do this. Like, what kind of visa are you on? And she's like, oh my God, that's true. I actually forgot. She was like, yeah, I'm on the global talent. But like, she because now time had passed, she had
Yeah.
now, I think she was now about to apply for her citizenship. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, the conversation of the visa doesn't even come to mind because she's so thankful that that is not even a conversation because she does anything she wants to do. And I think
Wow.
that's where I'm at, which is you can do anything. I think the only restriction that you have, and I laugh about this is they say you can't be a sports person in England, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play basketball for you guys. I have like, please, if I want to do sport, go home. You know, uh, yeah. But I think that's probably the restriction, and of course, accessing public funds and things like that. But
Yeah.
life post visa has been very flexible. I think this year alone, now that I run my own company, I run a startup advisory firm, and it's a global one, so I travel a lot for work. I think this year I've been to like about 6 countries, and I don't have to think about it. As
Wow.
long as if it's a country that requires a visa and I get my visa, I'm good to go. So I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Austria, I've been to the US, I've been to France, I've been to Morocco, and this is because I have a visa that not that the visa opens up the doors to the countries, but it gives you that flexibility, right?
Flexibility.
Where you are not thinking, oh gosh, my UK visa, I don't know, am I allowed to do this? Am I not allowed to do that? Again, like I said,
Hmm.
I work for myself, so I'm not taking permission from anyone, right? I have a visa that, even and I make a joke that even at immigration in the UK, they're
Hmm.
smiling at me, they're chatting with me. I'm not there for longer than 30 seconds. They're like, oh, we see you're a global talent. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, oh, so what do you do? It becomes like a friendly chat at
Hmm.
immigration. Those people that used to be very annoying to Nigerians now, I'm such a cool kid to them, right? So I'd say a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunities also come with it. But you have to be very deliberate as well. There's so many people who have it and are not doing much with it, right? So it all still comes down to you and what you're trying to do with it.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what we do at Glotale is we spotlight global talents like Ife, right? And when we do this like this, there are other persons, other that come to our channel, and they watch this global talent. They are inspired by their story, all right, and they actually after being inspired, because I just believe somebody just said, "Wow," I feel like
Mm.
somebody just said, "Wow," when you said on that visa, with that visa you can actually get do anything like the owning your maybe VC venture
Yeah,
capital with them, something like that. Somebody will like, oh my god, wow! I remember discussing with somebody. I traveled to Nigeria recently, and he's a big shot in the tech space. The guy, I think he one of the founders that have sold out and companies sold out for like some $1 million. So he's a big boy. And I was now like telling him that yes, senior bros, you still need this global talent visa.
mhm,
Said, no, 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 it does not need it. That is okay, Nigeria. I said, okay, look at why. Consider your family. When I told him about his family, right, they can, on that visa, if he's a recipient, they can be
yeah,
dependent on the visa and still have that flexibility to have, the international experience and all of that. And he said, oh, yes. And his
yeah,
business can also have a UK presence, I believe.
of course.
So he started seeing and all that. The only thing he said is that he's a busy person,
Hmm.
you know, he won't have the time. So I said, okay, we're also into the business of helping you, helping you and do all those stuff. So you don't have any excuse why your family will not have, all of these benefits that come with this global talent visa, and you will qualify because he has recommended people
Yeah,
and they got it. So
yeah, yeah,
he's qualified for it, eligible for it. So I told him, go, shoot your shot. So it's good we say things like this. You just mentioned VC. It's a new information for many people. I'm just even hearing it. So it's a big lesson for many persons. Somebody can be inspired from, or somebody can just, wake up from his our dreams just hearing that. So we are shaking grounds here. We are changing lives here. Please put on the charts, what you want to hear, maybe any question you have for Ife,
Mm,
because we are actually shaking grounds here. And thank you, Ife, for being open
no worries.
and being very, very informative. God bless you. We're really happy. So
Yeah,
um,
you're welcome.
let's talk more about you know maybe let's even talk about the business part. I didn't want to go there. I just wanted to focus on the visa, but
Mhm,
you're really a big person in the business space,
mhm.
and you connect a lot of persons to. I think I saw your profile. You help startups,
Yeah.
give them directions on how they can scale and get
Mhm,
opportunities and all of that. So, can you tell us maybe a typical talented person that
mhm,
wants to, he gets the visa, and but he wants to. Let's talk about business. Maybe he wants to get established in the UK,
mhm,
with the global talent visa as an entrepreneur. So, can you advise that person, how maybe he has a business in Nigeria and he wants to have a UK global presence? So he's planning on getting the global talent visa. Maybe
mhm.
with that, he can be established here. I know there might be challenges and fears with, okay, how would I settle? How would I balance my, so, get stabilized very easily because my business started in the UK. I have
Mhm.
to raise some funds, so it's not going to be easy for me to navigate this space. So it's better I remain in Nigeria. So he might be afraid. So what advice do you have for such kind of individual?
I mean, and I'm always very honest. Like with anything that is worthwhile, it takes a lot of work, you know.
Yeah,
And in
yeah.
my case, I'm a person of faith, so it takes a lot of work. And over everything, it takes the grace of God, right? Because we're
Mm,
all doing our best, showing up every day, hopeful that this thing that we try today works out, right? So I'm not one person that will come and tell you, oh, it's super easy, just come in, plug in, play, boom, you're good to go. It's hard work. I'm very big on, again, like this time I wear my lawyer hat. I'm very big on structure. I'm very big on ensuring that you fully have all that you need to have in the that is structure. So when I'm talking about structure, I'm saying your business needs to be registered. Now you literally are on the radar of the UK government because now they've given you this special visa. So you can't be trying to cut corners doing anything funny, right? You need to register your business, and with business registration means that a year after you need to start paying taxes, right, for that business. So get all your registration documentation, ducks in a row. Make sure that it's a legitimate business because, like I said, they're giving you this visa. They have their eye on you. It's not they don't give it to a lot of people. So if you're one of the few that they then decided deserves it, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is legitimate and there are no issues around it. Next, I'll say it depends on what you're trying to do. I run a service-based business, so I'm a startup advisor. It's not a product-based business. So there are different perks and different nuances to it, right? Which is, I work with startup founders, I work with startup accelerators, I work with government, and I work with corporate startup programs, right? I'm not building a product that I'm selling to customers or selling to businesses, like a product that you can touch. I have services, right? And that means you have to decide and discover for me what are the best ways to get my clients, what are the best ways to connect with my clients. So if you know anything about me, I'm super active on LinkedIn because it's a platform that helps me really connect to the kind of people I always want to work with, right? So that LinkedIn is probably like where you find me doing a lot of my work, talking about my business, talking about the kind of work I do, talking about the places that I go, the speaking engagements that I have, because like I said, it's where I connect with the people that I want to work with, right? And it's just and I say this to everyone, it's a daily showing up for yourself, right? It's not beyond that. I'm not going to lie. It's choosing to show up for yourself every single day regardless of anything, come what may, right? And I'm so grateful and so thankful to God that I've been doing this for almost 2 years now and I don't regret it. I tell people that working for myself is the best job that I've ever had. I'm thankful that I get to do it. I don't take it for granted. I do it the way I used to work for others and strive for a promotion. I do it better than that, right? Because there's no one who's going to come and wake you up and say, oh, today you deserve a promotion. Anything you want, you have to work hard for it, right? If you want to take the day off, that's your business. But if the business suffers, cheers to you, right? So it's showing up for myself every day. And I think that's the big advice I'd give anyone who wants to start and work for themselves. I think you're muted.
Interesting. So it's very, very clear. Like with Ife on your side, you're you're not afraid, you're not supposed to be troubled that your startup won't work. So now startups you help, are they just startups in Africa?
Mm.
Do you also have like startups you help scale in in,
No,
in
absolutely. It's so I run a global startup advisory firm, and which is why I was talking about a lot of places I've been to. So
yeah,
my startup is very global in nature. So I do work in North America. I do work in the Middle East. I was in Saudi Arabia earlier, and I'm going back later this year. I do work across Europe. So I was in Austria. I was in France. And of course, I do work on the African continent. It matters to me. So I was in
yeah,
Morocco in April, and I'm still going to do a bit of Africa travel before the year. And so it's a very global business. I'm thankful that when I used to work 9 to 5s, I've had very global experiences. So I've worked in Dubai, worked in Nigeria, worked with government, worked with a fintech unicorn. That has really exposed me to working, globally, right? And so when I was starting to build my own company, I knew that it wasn't a company that I wanted to have a limited focus, right? That was one thing that at least I knew about, right? I didn't have everything figured out. I still don't. But one thing I knew from the get go is I didn't want this thing to be some small mushroom business that was just somewhere on the side. I wanted it to be seen, and I wanted it to be seen as global from day one, right? So yeah.
mm, mm. Interesting. Interesting. So now, when we talk about balancing a whole lot, you're doing business and work life balance. Some persons we don't believe there is work life balance. Some persons believe there's work life balance. So what's your own opinion on that?
Mhm.
So life could be family, life could be, so there are a lot of
Yeah.
pressures.
Yeah.
So but some persons don't believe that there is anything like that. You just have to
Mhm.
work. So what's your own concept,
Yeah.
philosophy around that?
I'm very big on taking breaks. I don't even joke with it. Like it's because I work hard. I push it, I work hard. And so but for me, that also means I prioritize the things that are important to me, right? And so about 2 weeks ago, I was in the US, and I was in the US for 3 days because one of my closest friends was getting married. And that's the only reason why I went to America, right? Because this is someone who's important to me. We wanted to have a beautiful time. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to overthink it. I'm thankful that at least I can spare the funds to go and just go for 72 hours. But that mattered to me. It mattered to my mental health. It mattered to my joy. And like, I'm going to be right? And that was me just taking a break, right? And literally, once I came back the next day, I had to speak at London Tech Week for 2 days, right? So it was enjoyment and straight into what was waiting for me. But I'm thankful that I get to take a break. Some days I'm tired, and I remind myself that when you had a 9 to 5, at least you had leave days.
Yeah,
You will take your leave and you will rest. So
yeah,
when you're working for yourself, it doesn't mean that there are no off. I think the danger of working for yourself is you think if you're not working, something is definitely going to go wrong. That's not true. My partner says something, he says, that thing you think will happen, it won't happen. You see that dangerous, terrible, messed up situation that you're afraid of, it won't happen. Because you're not the kind of person, as long as you're not the kind of person that sets yourself up for failure and sets yourself up for destruction by your own hand. That
mm,
bad situation that you've conjured up in your head, it won't happen. So take a break,
yeah.
And it's so funny because tomorrow I have a speaking engagement where we're talking exactly about this mental health strategies for founders, right? It's so important. You don't want to keep going and then burn out, crash and burn in front, So I believe in taking breaks, as often as you can and as often as you need to. And for you who works hard, I'm telling you, only the best things will happen. It might take time, but it will happen. I believe. Yeah.
So this topic, right? Some persons want to be founders, but maybe their career is also
Mm,
their fears and their drawbacks, right?
mm,
They are tied, and there's this question: career entrepreneurship. But I know I have this dream of becoming an entrepreneur, a founder.
mm,
I'm tied in my career, and it's not like I really want to be there, but the UK, the US, it's
mm,
just I have to pay bills, and if I
mhm,
decide to run away from my career, I might not be able to pay bills, and
mm,
I'm paying mortgage. I might lose my house,
mhm.
so my just startup dream is dying. So what would they do? That's already a mental health issue. So the person is coming to work, but is not really happy. He's not motivated.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very individual and personal thing you have to work through, right? It's not, I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Um, but I personally understand the realities. Someone who is single versus someone who is married, not even with kids, is different from also someone who is married with kids. And someone who is even married with one kid versus someone who's married with two, three kids. Realities are different. When you're not the only one to consider, you have multiple stakeholders. You need to do what is not just best for you, but what's also best for them, right? And so, if having a job for a time is what is best for them, then that's what you have to do. I don't believe in just ignoring your core stakeholders who are looking up to you for support and guidance and just doing whatever you want to do. You have to consider the stakeholders in your life, right? And try to make a decision that works as best as possible for everyone, right? And that being said, I think there's a lot of internal introspection that must happen, right?
Yeah.
I know people who dropped everything and said, you know what, this job thing wasn't working for me anymore, and decided to start their own thing. And of course, like I said, with anything that is worth doing, it takes time, it takes hard work. So do not expect that you're going to start it today and boom, it's Amazon tomorrow. It doesn't work like that, right? So it's long term. It's a long term play. Be ready for that. And again, I also, I mean, I was in corporate up until 2 years ago. And I did my best and I gave it my all and I enjoyed it, right? So I'm not one person who comes on sessions and tells people abandon your 9 to 5, and I don't do that. I think that's ridiculous, right? So I think, like I said, do a lot of introspection and decide what works best for you per time. What works best for you today could be totally different tomorrow, and that's okay, right? But again, please also be mindful of your stakeholders. Don't do things that would negatively impact them. Particularly at this time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's spot on. Some persons, when they are doing corporate and they try so many things, it's not working. Maybe this person is, got employed for this role, and he could not even stay up to 5 months, on that job, and he's doing another job, and maybe he was fired, he was sacked. Sometimes that does not mean the person is not, a talent as well. Sometimes maybe it's one way God. I think I read a post like that. Somebody saying it's one way God is trying to tell the person you're called for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So
Right. So I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
like never know. Right.
it's
But
very
I
possible.
think that with those kind of tough situations, I was even going to say at least this person, this hypothetical person you're describing, was
Yeah,
able to find a second job. There are too many people who now lost one job and just haven't found another one, right?
yeah,
And it's not. And I tell people it's not about you. I promise you, it's not about you. The market
yeah,
is a big mess right now. The job market is a mess. People are
mm,
losing jobs every day. Multiple exceptional people are being thrown into the market. You're
mm,
competing against people who have been doing jobs for 20 years. It's
yeah,
like, well, you don't like, I mean, it's not a you problem. Many of them are
mm,
willing to now take pay cuts because they have responsibilities, they have stakeholders, and they just need to start working again, right? So it's a tough one, and the world has a lot of things that are not going great, right? But
mm,
again, I'm a person of faith, and I believe that no matter what, the children of God will always win. No matter
yes,
what, I believe it that you would always come out standing tall, much better. You will go through that fire, and you will
mm,
come to be refined as gold. It would really try to take you, but you will get up, right? And you will be much better off for it. So I think that no matter what anyone is, and I know the realities are people are going through so much right now, just managing so much. I guess for me, it's just keep your head up. Keep your head up. You're not the only one. There's a lot going on with people, that people are not even talking about until you probably ask them the right questions and then they start talking to you like, oh my God, I thought mine was bad. Right? So I think keep your head up.
mm.
It's always better eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. And it looks like you maybe you can agree with me if I'm wrong. Some persons don't even know that they can build their business. And maybe someone maybe in Africa or any part of Europe that actually is seeking for maybe an international experience in the UK, and the business can also be used for the application, right? Maybe it's a technical person.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Whatever is,
absolutely.
yeah, possible, right? So they're all there's a connection.
Yeah.
Just like you said,
Yeah,
it's just that.
I think the good thing about it doesn't even have to be a business that is for profit. It can even be a social enterprise that actively is technology affiliated.
Yeah,
You're trying to solve a social problem that actively, leverages technology. It is definitely something that you can use and that would support your application and make it a lot stronger. So if you have any ideas, essentially don't be sitting on those ideas, right? Do something about it. Like I said, put structure around it. Registering a business in Nigeria it costs, it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So get it registered because you need that structure, right? When you're applying, you're not talking about a business idea. You're going to be talking about that is existing, and you'll be putting screenshots of the CAC certificate and things like that. So get it out of your head and actually do something else.
Good, 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 good. With the GTV application, it is not even asking. I know they would actually want to get like what's it called? Maybe things like for mandatory criteria and the optional criteria, things like what's your maybe what things you've earned, your salary, and all of those things, high income salary, and all of
Mhm.
that. So, but the other pathways apart from the GTV, the person that is building a product, the technical founder, right, can apply through the innovator founder visa, right?
Mm,
With his company, it's possible, right?
mm.
So
I mean,
there are ways,
I
there
guess
are ways,
I didn't go that route, so I don't know too much about it.
yeah,
I imagine that it's possible, but please, I always tell people do your research, do your
yeah,
deep research, to
yeah,
ensure that you're qualified for whatever it is you want to apply for.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and but even with your company, it's still part of the things you can show as evidence what you've done technically in your company, depend on the route your feed you're
No,
applying
absolutely.
for. Yeah, so
Again,
there are a lot of
one of the
opportunities.
things I was saying is it goes back to that narrative, that storytelling.
Yes,
If you say you are X, everything about your application should be pointing to X. It
fantastic,
must be very clear that you are this X person throughout
fantastic.
the entire application.
That's a spot on. You've been so amazing. If you really and a very very encouraging, inspiring, educative. So whoever is listening, wherever you're joining from, you're watching us, and that I hope you're learning, please, and you're also inspired. You're standing up, waking up from your dreams. That is possible today. Um, just take the lessons, take the action points, and get ready for business because you're next on the line for your own success story. Global Talent Visa. We have some questions. If
Okay.
I'll just call them out. Someone is asking, you've advised, hi, fair, you've advised over 200 startups. Um, so he's saying, what do you think makes someone ready for the next level
Mm,
beyond just skills?
mm,
And if someone feels too early or not good enough yet, what would you say?
mm. I think with this, I want to be very practical because I've seen a lot of founders who are trying to raise money for their business, trying to get investments and things like that, who don't have the metrics that investors are willing to take a chance on. So when you're talking about ready for the next level, a lot of things that investors want to see, and a lot of things that even make you realize that you're ready to move to the next level is key metrics like, how much traction you've gotten. So how you've been able to acquire customers, but beyond acquiring customers, how you've been able to retain them. People look at, oh, let's get customers, let's get customers. Are those customers that you've gotten, are they staying with you? Or are they jumping ship once a competitor comes and is offering them cheaper? Right? So your customer retention, your customer, your burn rates, all of those things that actual hardcore metrics that help you build a startup, right? You have to understand them. You have to be deliberate about them. It's not, again, I always tell people, don't ever build something and think it's just a small thing that is going to be in a corner. Don't ever do that, right? Think about it and think about how big this thing could be, right? When you start to imagine how big it could be, you will be deliberate about everything you're doing, right? So I tell founders, and it was what I was discussing at London Tech Week last week. Think about scale from day one. Think about how to position yourself from day one. Now everyone is talking about AI. I don't think it's just hype. I think it's here to stay. And I think that every founder out there should be actively thinking, how can I leverage AI for my business and ultimately for the customers that I'm serving? People are looking for convenience, your customers are looking for ease. How are you speaking to that? How are you making the lives easier? How are you ensuring that your product or your company is always their go-to? And like we always talk about it, how do you make sure that you're a vitamin, that you're a painkiller and not a vitamin? So how many people take vitamins? Not a lot of people. I'm probably one of the few people on this call that takes vitamins. I have my vitamin D, just right on my table, but a lot of people don't. But a lot of people take painkillers once you feel hurt. Make sure that your company is not one of those things that people are like, yeah, it's a nice to have. Yeah, this has to go. Recently, I had to cancel a lot of subscriptions because I was like, yeah, this is not necessary. No, 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 no. I'm not supposed to. You know, because those things became vitamins to me. I'm like, yeah, I don't need all this. Like, boom, cancelled, gone. But there's things that I've realized that this can't go anywhere. Like, I can't
Oh,
stop subscribing. So that's how you want to see it. I hope that helps. Yeah.
I just re-echoed what I discovered with my co-founder. We're building a product, a retail SaaS product that connects suppliers to retailers, and
Mm,
exactly what you just said. That's what you sounded, or you just re-echoed what you told me.
mm,
Building a product that people cannot do without, because of competition and naturally what a product is supposed to be. So like, the vitamin D and the painkiller analogy, you just nailed
mm.
it. Yeah, we still have questions.
Okay.
Questions. Just curious, how did you go from talented professional to someone considered globally exceptional? Was it a mindset shift, a strategic step, or both?
It was everything, honestly. And I was listening to something today, and I remember what she said. Like, you can't do anything if you don't believe that you can do it. It's that simple. Like, I mean, remember that I said in February, I recommended someone. I wasn't even thinking of applying because I was like, yeah, this is not, I'm not just interested in this. But once I decided to apply, I was like, oh, okay. Ifeoluwa, you can actually do this thing, and there's every possibility that you can get it. Before I even started applying, once I decided that yes, I want to apply, you're telling yourself that yes, I can do this thing. It then becomes okay. So now I know I can do it. Do I have what it takes? Do I have the requirements that they've asked for? Right. And it's okay if at the moment you don't. It then
Mm,
becomes I need to build my profile. How long am I going to take to do that? So I've worked with people who I've said to them, take another 6 months to build your profile. You need another 9 to 12 months to build your profile. If you apply as you are, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think you'd get it. But I think if you take a bit more time to be deliberate about building a profile that based on the things they've asked for, then you're giving yourself a stronger chance. Again, remember it's a visa. No one can
mm,
assure you you're gonna get it. And I don't lie to people. Like nobody can tell you once you do ABCD for sure you're getting it. Like you are
yeah,
not the assessor, you don't know anything. The most you can do is do your best to align and build a profile based on the requirements that they've asked for, right? And in the end, you're hopeful that this is
mm,
what you're looking for, and then you get the endorsement. That was what I did, right? But I still obviously knew that you could go the other way, right? But I think ultimately, I said to myself, even if they come back to me and say, "Oh, we're so sorry," I just couldn't reapply because I'm like, I've given you guys everything. There's nothing new I can do, I can give, right? So
mm.
I hope that answers this question.
Yeah. Some persons are still asking, what are the expectations and requirements? I think we've said that, but maybe we can do a recap for the recipients of Global Talent Visa. What contributions are they expected to make to the UK economy and community?
Mm. I think in terms of requirements, we talked about it, but I'll run through it very quickly again. And I will say, please do your research, guys. That's one thing I've noticed that a lot of us don't like to do. A lot of us love being spoon fed. Please don't do that with this process. Take your
Yeah.
time. All the information is available online. All of it. I promise you. The two links you need are the Global Talent Visa link on the gov.uk website and the breakdown of the requirements on the Technician website. Take your time. Look through all of it. I beg you. Please don't do this haphazardly. Don't do this just let me just try and mash up. The information is out there. Right? You need a CV, you need a 1,000 word personal statement, you need 3 recommendation letters for people who have known your work for 12 months, and then you need evidence. So, proof that you truly are who you say you are. And this evidence is visual, screenshots, pictures, you know, emails, all of those kinds of things. But like I said, once you look through those two big links, there's a full breakdown of these requirements and what is expected. In terms of your contribution, what they expect you to contribute to the UK economy, they want to give this visa to people who can come and almost like be shining lights in the UK, right? That's what I think it is. Where, whether it's through a 9 to 5 job, whether it's through running your own business, whether it's through doing both of those things, like because again they're going to want to see proof when it's time to apply for your permanent residency, your indefinite leave to remain. So if you get the visa and then you go and work in healthcare as a health worker, whatever, like I'm so sorry, I don't know how the ILR phase is going to work out, right? So you have to come be very deliberate about building within the tech space, working within the tech space, learning within the tech space, and giving back within the tech space, is what I would say.
Fantastic, fantastic. Someone is now saying, how do I commence the application? Don't
Yeah,
worry,
I
you have
will respond to that. Yeah,
so yeah, Joseph, you don't have a problem. We are going to
yeah,
drop all of our contact information so we can follow up with
mm,
that for you.
okay,
Yeah, you're going to see it on the comment section. Yeah,
that's
you're going to see it on the comment section. It has been an amazing section with our guest speaker. She's a whole lot. Like I would say, you are your name Ifeoluwa. It's in Yoruba, right? And
yeah,
it means God's love, right?
it does. It really
So
does.
you have been favored and loved of the Lord, and we can see the goodness of God in your
Thank
life.
you so much. I
What
appreciate
God
it.
has achieved. We're proud of you. She's my sister. Me, I'm a Niger boy. So, and my Niger sister is on stage, and we are proud of her as
Thank you
our
so much.
Nigeria, our own, representing, in the international space. So, if she can do it, whoever is listening, we can also become that international star, international figure, and bring glory to our country, ourselves, our families. You know, it's something we should be aware of and conscious of, and be courageous about. So let's go chase that
Mm,
visa. Let's be inspired and chase that visa. So, if do you have maybe final words for our
mm,
audience? Like anything on your mind, top of your mind, maybe
mm.
from business. You've just reflected, and I know you've talked to a lot of persons.
Yeah.
Common challenges you feel like maybe immigrants have, people have, business, and it's just their limitation. And you just want someone to know this today.
Mm.
And you might be talking to so many persons, and maybe whatever you drop now will change their life. So we have some few minutes, to just allow those final words come out from your spirit to that person. Or maybe for the visa, somebody might be struggling somewhere, just wants to hear some final words from you. Just please, I just want you to drop it as a bump so that person can stand up from his or her seat and take action.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe it's two things. So one,
Yeah.
and this is something that I see a lot of immigrants do, and it makes me very sad.
Mm,
Don't ignore the experience you had back home just because you've moved to a new country. Don't do that.
mm,
A lot of people, I've seen people with a decade years of experience, and they're acting like they have to start life all over again. Don't do that.
mm,
Don't do that. You're an expert. You know what you're doing. You've gone there. I mean, if you've trained in, I don't know how many. I mean, I'm sure there are Africans on this call. If you've grown up in Africa, you've worked in Africa. It's hard. You've built something. You've taken the time. You've learned things. You've grown. Don't move abroad and think that all of that doesn't matter. The system might make you think it doesn't, but it
mm,
matters, and you should walk with your head high because of what that you've achieved, right?
mm,
Yes, maybe the initial job you get might not reflect that, but don't ever forget that you are that person who's come a long way and who's done so much that is still valuable. Um, and maybe the other thing would be don't second guess yourself out of opportunities. So maybe all the things I've said here, people might think, oh my God, she has such an amazing profile. I don't even have up to this. Where am I going to start from? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is, oh, someone literally texted me today and said, hi there. Oh, I mean, we're catching up. She was giving me updates about all the things she's been doing. She just got a job. And she's like, you know what, Ife, because of you, I'm taking out the next 1 year to build my profile to apply for this visa. She's on a
mm,
1 year plan, right? She knows that okay, I can't apply today, but I want to see what my profile is going to be in the next 1 2 years. So that's fine, right? So don't look at anyone and think, like they've gone so far. Where would I even start from? Everyone who looks like they've gone so far had a beginning and is
mm,
still on the journey. I'm still on a journey every single day. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and I keep showing up for myself every day. And so I'm saying don't second guess yourself out of opportunities. Ask questions, do your research. Don't be lazy about your life. I tell people this all the time unapologetically. Don't expect someone to come and sort your life out for you. If you see an opportunity that you think you want to explore, go for it. If you need some more time to build a profile, take that time. Be intentional, be deliberate. And I tell you that every good thing comes. It really does. Yeah, that's it.
mm. We're grateful to have someone like you on earth, you're a blessing. We're
Thank
so
you
happy.
so
We're
much.
so
Thank
happy.
you.
We're
Thank
so
you.
happy. Keep impacting, keep changing lives. Keep influencing. We're proud of you. You know, me, I'm most especially proud of you.
Thank you.
So yeah, there are a lot of key takeaways. I don't know, you know, many of these things, thank God it's recorded. So it's already our long term memory because like there were so many things that were just flying. You know, the VC idea was a new information for me, and I believe some of your, many of our audience today have written and taken so many points that they're going to act on. So many information that has been thrown at us, but
Mhm,
the thing is recorded, so we can always go back
mhm,
to reflect, you know, so that we don't miss any of those points. But she has said a lot, and we've learned so much. And many of us will be saying, "Oh, how can I reach out to this wonderful icon, this star?" Yes, Ife, Ifeoluwa, how do you want them to reach
Uh,
you?
so I'm Ifeoluwa Ogunbufunmi, literally my full name on LinkedIn. That is like the number one place to reach out. I think I'm checking now and I see that I've already had a few LinkedIn invitations and I'm pretty sure it's from this call. So, so yeah, it's my full name on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me.
All right, all right, yeah. So that startup dream is now it has been connected to a doctor that is going to give it. You know, she's a startup doctor. That's what I'll be calling you. Yeah, I used to give my many of my guest speakers, I give them name. So yeah, I'll be calling you startup doctor. I don't know if you like that
Mhm.
name. It has
That's
gotten a
fine.
doctor.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
so
fine.
that's what she does. Yeah, she's also a GTV coach as well. So she's a whole full package. You can reach out to her if you have questions, you need more information about all of this talk and what she does. Once again, we're happy and grateful for having you on our section. We hope to see you again because there are so many things we still need to unravel and learn from you. You are an eternal course. I don't think it will just be today. So,
Mhm.
um, if you want her to come, whatever questions you have, you can also drop them in the chat so that we can build on that and plan has second invitation on our channel. But we as a, as we're a family, as a community, as a company, as a business, we are so happy and grateful, really honored that you accepted our invitation and you
Mhm.
were able to pass a lot of information to us. Thank you so much. If yes, me, I want to even give you a round
Thank
of
you so much. And thank you so much, Marco, for reaching out. Thank you to you and your entire team. Thanks to Mark Anthony, who really followed up to make sure that I was here and here on time. I appreciate you guys. Well done, all the work you're doing. It's
thank
very
you.
impactful. It's helping a lot of not just Nigerians, Africans, but people who want to be deliberate about their next steps. So very well done to you guys. And I'm excited to have done this with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We keep helping people. We keep, your story. It's someone's inspiration. So we keep, connecting talents, to other talents through their stories. So we're doing more things. Not just GTV. We're applying other things like the innovator visa. Just it could be. We're accelerating talent as well because I believe everybody's a talent. So
Yeah.
information is what maybe someone needs for the next level. So our work is to make sure we connect talents to these opportunities in persons or wherever it is. So that's what we stand for as a business, and we're really happy you've graced our events and you've made it a reality, part of our success as well today. Thank you so much. All
Thanks
right,
for having
so
me. All right, then. Good
yes,
evening.
so
Have a good evening,
yeah,
everyone. Take care.
yes, take care, take care. Thanks for
Bye.
joining everyone. Bye everyone, bye. Thank you. So Mark, you can